Hey amigos, welcome to Comedy Sheep's Side Gig with me, Ignacio Lopez. We've had a short break. I hope you've had an excellent start to 2026. This week I am joined by Steffan Alun, probably one of my favorite comedians on the Welsh circuit as well as all around the UK. He is very funny and he's got a massive show coming up in Cardiff. We chat a little bit about that, the Edinburgh Fringe Festival, being bilingual, being bisexual, and his job being a translator, which is what he used to do before he was a mega funny comedian. Let's find out what he has to say about it. You comfortable up there? Yeah. Okay, yeah, welcome to the Bella Show. She's probably in focus over there more than I am. Cool, yeah, we're recording an episode of Side Gig from my new home in Barry. Welcome to the party. To kick it off, who the fuck are you? And what do you do?
I am Steffan Alun.
Yeah.
I am a stand-up comedian.
Yeah.
And I do all the things stand-up comedians do, i.e. mostly comedy, but also occasionally presenting.
Okay.
Or,
It feels weird asking you that question. We've known each other for a very long
Yes.
time. We're good friends.
You've only now realised you have not known all this time.
It's like, what do you do exactly? He's always hanging out at gigs, backstage. I don't know how he got there. If you had to describe your job to a 5-year-old, what would you tell them?
Oh, I do have to do that sometimes. I have 6-year-olds in my life now,
Okay.
a nephew and a niece. I explain to them that I stand in front of a big crowd of people and it is my job to make them laugh.
Cool. That's a nice, succinct way of telling people what you do, which is nice.
The fun thing is if you then ask the kids, how do you think I do that? And like what they think a comedian is.
What do they think a comedian is?
So I've had so many answers. Do you fall over? And I'm like, never on purpose.
Have you ever fallen over to the stage?
Yeah, I have dyspraxia, so I have. Like very rarely have I don't think I've ever properly face planted, but the number of times my legs have become tangled in the cables, humiliating.
Just self-trapping yourself.
Yeah.
People are like, are we watching an escapologist prepare for his next...
And it looks
Escape.
like I've never done a gig before. You know, like if I've trapped myself, like the one thing a comedian needs to know their way around is a microphone.
Cables, I have seen lots of comics mess that up though. The one for me, watching comics play around with this and like accidentally sort of, create crackling sounds, that really goes through me. What's the opposite of ASMR? Just pure anger.
I feel myself doing it now. I wrote a joke once to try and train myself out of doing it.
Which is?
So I would say, I am bisexual, and as a queer man, the main advantage it gives me as a comic is I know how to hold a mic properly. But I didn't know how to hold a mic properly, so it just didn't work.
But you have been married to a woman for a very long time.
Yeah, so it's all very confusing.
We've known each other for so long. You started stand-up in Swansea.
Yes.
You're still living in Swansea.
Yes.
So absolutely zero growth.
Yeah, none. Considerably more of the house mortgage has been paid off than if I lived, frankly, anywhere else.
No, man, that's good. I mean, I'm very true to kind of, I started in Wales. I'm staying in Wales. People always ask that question of like, are you going to move to London? I was like, why? Why would I move to London?
Yeah.
I can get there in 2 hours.
Yes.
And not have to pay London prices to live there.
Yeah.
What do you think is, before you were a stand-up comedian, you were a translator?
Yes.
Full-time?
Yes, yeah.
Wow.
So
Welsh into English?
Welsh into English,
Yeah.
and sometimes the other way around.
What both ways?
I know.
We always knew he swung both ways, ladies and gentlemen. Bisexual, bilingual, yeah.
That's remind me to put that on a poster.
Bisexual, bilingual. That sounds like a what do they call it when you practice saying something in order to create better pronunciation?
Oh, like speech therapy.
Yeah.
Yeah, like a tongue twister.
Bilingual,
bisexual.
Yeah, that's good, man. That
also,
works.
it makes me sound more bisexual when I say that.
It's because you're concentrating so much on getting those vowels and assonant sounds out. How did you get into translating, for starters?
So my mother's a translator, so I'm a
Fucking
nepo
nepo baby.
Yeah, right. So I've always found this so interesting. There is so much discussion, and people ask me all the time. Did you have friends, family in showbiz? Absolutely not. But I think most people a lot of people end up doing the job their parents do, right? Because it's an option.
Yeah.
So I got a summer job for 2 weeks working for Swansea Council because they needed a bit of extra help translating. So it was just like very like, I don't really know what an intern is, but I feel like that's how it was. Just you sort of go in and they're like, right, sit at a desk. Here's some English documents. Make them Welsh as fast as you can. You got 2 weeks.
Was this your first job?
Yeah.
Internship for translating.
So I mean, I'm using the word internship, but it was like 2 weeks paid like temp work.
Wow.
And it went so well that after my first year of uni was over, I got offered, another short contract. So every summer I would come back and do some more work. And then after graduating, eventually an opportunity came to like apply for full-time work. And I got that job. And so, at a very junior level.
What is Nepo baby in Welsh? And is it held under such disdain?
Okay. Babi Nepo.
Babi Nepo.
I mean, I'm coining it. I've never heard anyone use it.
Babi Nepo, I love it.
See,
it's a new hashtag, definitely.
But actually, it's not a thing in Welsh because the Welsh language industries, the arts, and all others, frankly, is kind of all about growth. So it's all about, we were under threat for so many years. There were sort of active attempts to reduce the number of Welsh speakers, to reduce services in Welsh. And then there's been a massive campaign to reverse that, which means we kind of need to keep, if you have kids, you want them to speak Welsh.
Yeah, you don't even think about going into some other kind of profession. You're going to be a translator also. And your kids are going to be translators? Have more kids.
So, can I tell this story? I'm going to. A friend of mine who is a children's TV presenter in Welsh came to see my show in Edinburgh with her boyfriend. We hung out afterwards. It was lovely. It's very nice in Edinburgh to be able to like speak in Welsh, and I embrace those opportunities, gossiping away about saying, frankly, truly scandalous stuff. Because we just assume no one else can possibly speak Welsh. We're abroad. We're in Scotland. As if anyone's going to understand this. Anyway, the stories I could tell. But the story I will tell is of meeting up with comedians later and me introducing my friends. And them finding out, you're a TV presenter in Wales. And because so her parents were both actors in a soap opera I really love. And people were like, so you're a Nepo baby. And she was like, I'm a what? Just brand new concept. But
that's how she discovered the term.
Yeah, she'd never heard it before.
By being accused of being one.
Yeah.
Okay. I think that's how most of them find out.
Yeah, I think so. But it's funny that, I think the Nepo baby discourse is all about, this is a very, people want jobs in the arts. People love the idea of being an actor or a comedian. It's an exciting thing to do. So the idea that you don't get to because those spots are taken up by the children of older comedians or rich parents is annoying.
It's just a further discussion on privilege, isn't it?
Yes.
It's like you get opportunities given that other people would not be able to get because their parents aren't Steven Spielberg.
Yeah. But we don't talk about the fact, you and I were very privileged in comedy because we're funny. Some people are not funny and we just think, you weren't good enough. But hey, it's a really serious thing.
Man, I mean, we have spoken at length, I think recently as well, about people we know who weren't funny, had no opportunity, and we tried our hardest because they were friends of ours to try and help them get into it. And it's just, you can't teach certain things.
Yeah.
You can't teach so much. I mean, like I joked earlier about you not having any growth, man, but you're a super talented, funny guy. I'm happy to call you a friend and a comic. But there were moments when you were starting out, it's like, is he really going to talk about Lucozade this entire time?
Yeah. So when I started, it was such a thing of I would go and watch open mic nights and see what new comics were doing. And there were so many tropes and, we might call them hack topics or hack ways of doing comedy. Just these ways that are done to death. And I was like, I'm going to be the exact opposite of all of that. And sometimes that is a good way to be. Yeah, try to talk about stuff that's less common. But on the other hand, I was trying to avoid any topic that had been done. So I was I wrote 10 minutes on spreadsheets. I wrote 10 minutes on magnets. I was just giving myself the challenge of writing about something I'd never heard anyone talk about. Ludicrous way to behave.
10 minutes on magnets.
Yeah.
Wow.
Bumped into...
Was that material polarizing or...
There was a very north-south divide, actually.
I want to talk more about translating. When you became a translator full time, is that the kind of thing you'd have a day-to-day structure of it? Are you just
It's an
receiving...
office job. Yeah,
Oh, okay.
you go into the office Monday to Friday, 9 to 5 pretty much. There might be flexi time, you have annual leave, but proper office job with colleagues and a water cooler and talking about last night's episode of The Apprentice. So yeah, like just really straight in at, this is what jobs are like. So I never did I never worked in a bar, I never worked in retail. So when I started meeting friends and that was their like way into the world of work, I was like, oh, how interesting to work in Borders. I love books. And they were like, no, not fun. You have to deal with the public. I'm like, well, yeah, but you've got to deal with people who want to buy books. They're lovely, aren't they? No, very much the exception. Whereas in translation, you never saw
they don't like books. They like James Patterson.
Oh my God. I read one James Patterson book. Yeah. Never again.
Who was he collaborating with on that one?
Well, the actual writer, I imagine. It was... so I read it. It was about a woman who worked. She was she like some sort of hacker or something? But she was bisexual. And I was like, oh, that's interesting. A bisexual protagonist in this very like macho thriller book, but she just absolutely paper thin. Characterization. And then at the end of the book, it said, this book is in tribute to the woman we based this character on. I was like,
ouch.
If I was that woman, I'd be like, oh, man.
Oh, no. That's if you want a dedication in a book, you want it to shine you in a good light. Yeah. I've heard so many stories of authors taking names for characters based on like people, sometimes they hated or sometimes people they loved and like putting it that way. Sometimes like authors to try and like boost sales or like, create a bit of publicity will have things where you can win an opportunity to have a character named after you in a book. Yeah. Which sounds great. Yeah. But who is that character going to be? Because I do not want to win a competition and then next week there is like a pedophilic murderer in a book called Ignacio Lopez, all right?
Do you know the thing about... So in 2007, Blue Peter ran a competition where the winner would get to appear in an episode of Doctor Who. If you're a kid...
What year was this?
2007.
Wow.
So like... kids were so excited.
And that child was Christopher Eccleston.
This colouring in is so good. But the role the kid got, it was in a story, it was like the 3-part finale where he plays this kid. It's the end of the universe and the human race are trying to build a spaceship to escape their dying planet. And this kid is like...
Very prescient.
Yeah. Very... Do you know what? It looked identical to 2026 UK. And it was like everyone has a job. So even though he was like, 12 years old or whatever, he's there with a clipboard going, all right, let's take everyone off because, all hands on deck. And the end of the episode is them getting in a spaceship and leaving. But there is a twist later where it turns out it was a trap and they fell into the hands of Doctor Who's arch nemesis, who beheaded the child, but like still alive, turned him into this like monster with like blades and it's like a robot thing. Absolutely harrowing.
And the kid won the opportunity.
That was the opportunity.
Wow.
Imagine being that kid and like, turning up, that's your role, and then you watch it with your family who are like, oh, let's watch this program. Imagine if they don't even watch Doctor Who, but the boy's in it, let's watch this. And oh my God.
In that house, they call it Doctor What the Fuck. I mean, so from translator to comic, have you talked much about translation on stage?
Very little. So I did talk a couple of years ago about translating in court, which was like the most exciting side of it.
Yeah, that's like kind of that's as close you're going to get to kind of like TV version of your job, isn't it?
Yes. Yeah. And I still accept translation work in court because it doesn't come up very often, because it only comes up if for some reason someone, maybe a witness, wants to give their evidence in Welsh. Most Welsh speakers are bilingual. Most of them are comfortable enough speaking in English. But occasionally someone, it's a high pressure thing in court. And it means that, because something that started to happen, let's go back a bit. I went from working in an office to going freelance, doing more gigs and less translation work. But there was a point where I was doing both quite heavily. And then what started happening was I'd turn up to translate at like job interviews. And then someone would be like, I've seen you.
Doing stand-up?
Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
I thought you meant the other way around. You'd rock up to Gig and go, "You're the cunt who translated the murder of my wife."
You translated my disciplinary. What are you doing? I'm here with colleagues. You can't let them know. So I think it is weird because translation is almost a job where you want to fade into the background.
Sure.
And because you are a conduit. It is my job to represent this speaker to people who don't speak their language.
Yeah.
So this is, I've glossed over this. There's two types of translation, right? There's translating at a computer where you take a document. But there's also live translation where, and in Welsh it's simultaneous. In some European languages it'll be consecutive. So, you might speak for 30 seconds and then I repeat everything you've just said in another language. But with Welsh it's consecutive.
Okay.
I can give you an example if you want. So if you want to start speaking in English and I'll translate you at the same time into Welsh.
Okay, let me think about what I'm going to say here. So I'll do a Chris Rock routine.
Routine of Chris Rock.
I'm not going to. But we do know a comedian who did start doing a Chris Rock routine in order to throw off the performer and the audience who were watching the set translated. Great stuff.
So that's how quickly it works. So now what would happen is if you're at an event, you get headphones and you're watching the speaker speak a language you don't speak, but at the same time you're hearing the translation from someone. And I like to be as invisible as possible. Sometimes at the back of the room. In court you might be in a little booth so no one can see you. And so it's sort of the opposite of comedy. It's you if you do your job correctly, no one even notices you're there.
Yeah.
It's just such a seamless and smooth experience. They don't feel like they missed a thing.
What was you've obviously translated in court, translated in an office, done stuff where stuff has been sent to you at home, comedy brochures, etc. Yeah. What's been the worst day of that job as a translator?
The worst day, like any job, is where there is too much to do too quickly. And the thing that makes it even worse is when you know it's a thing that's not going to get read. And that happens. Like reports from the council where they go, right, we've got a 40,000 word report. You go, no one's even going to read that in English. And you're going to make me translate that into Welsh?
Or like a James Patterson novel or something.
Well, the thing is about a James Patterson novel is
very highly read.
Very highly read. But boring for a translator because he only uses about 100 different words.
Yeah, he set out like Dr. Zeus. I was just kind of like, right, I'm only going to use this set amount of words through my whole...
Yeah.
That's how Green Eggs and Ham was created, I think.
Yes.
Yeah. He was like, I'm only going to use these
challenge.
words. Yeah, and see what story I can craft out of it. So worst job is just it being like
I think like any job, the worst time is when you're not wanted, when the job isn't needed, but you have to do it anyway. We know that because we get booked for corporates.
Yeah.
And sometimes there are fun corporates, actually. I've done award ceremonies where you feel very valued and you have a nice time. But I've also done corporates. These are private bookings for anyone who doesn't know that. But where you turn up and it's like some huge corporation has hired you to entertain their workers for Christmas, but it's a Christmas too. They don't want to watch comedy, and there's like 200 people in like a stadium or something. And
has there ever been a time in court where you have struggled to translate something, or it could potentially take on two meanings?
In court, no.
Okay.
Because in court, you're usually translating a witness who will speak basically everyday Welsh.
Okay.
It's someone who witnessed a mugging or something, explaining in their words. And if a normal person off the street tells a story, they will use common words. But if you're in a corporate setting, so I've translated for governments, I've translated for like council meetings, there it really matters. The hardest thing is if someone starts rattling off a number.
Okay.
So last year, we made a net gain of £243,992.57. Like, it's so hard translating numbers that quickly.
Yeah.
But they're just reading it off a piece of paper, so it's easy for them.
Especially if like they start a number, you think they're done, and then they carry on going.
Yeah.
So like, there was roughly 400. And you're like, 400? They're like, and 42.
And so the thing is, it's not a problem. If you go wrong, you can sort of put up a hand and say, sorry, that's my mistake. Or you can do it. Sometimes you just do it subtly into the, you say, And then I ended up walking into the station. Sorry, not station, into the office. And you just continue correct yourself like that. But there are times where I was translating, and it was a numbers one. It was this very important meeting, and and I was translating someone saying, so yeah, we anticipate that this is going to cost about £50 million. That is what I'd said, because that's what I thought I'd heard. And the chairman was like, sorry, did you say £50 million? She was like, no, 50,000. And I was like... Well, actually, what she said is, oh, sorry, I must have misspoke. No, she did not misspeak.
You got it wrong.
That was me getting it wrong.
Okay.
Because in Welsh, mil and million are just that much more similar than thousand and million.
Yeah.
So errors happen. You usually course correct. It's human error does creep in.
That's the same as Spanish, actually, million.
There we go. So there is a translator I know, sort of poet I know, but she translates poetry also. Mererid Hopwood, very, very renowned poet in Wales, who speaks 5 languages to fluency: Welsh, English, French, German, and Spanish, and says that of all 5 of those, the 2 most similar are Spanish and Welsh. Not necessarily because their history, they're not closely linked by history, but that the way the musicality of the languages work meant that Spanish was the one she picked up most easily of the others.
That's cool. I mean, I wish it was that easy for me. Trying to learn Welsh. I found it. I think pronunciation-wise, once you've got that down, I can pronounce quite well. But just the memorizing of the words and stuff like and to are the reverse in Spanish and Welsh.
Yeah, that's it, isn't it?
So like and is E, obviously in Spanish, and that's to in Welsh.
Yeah.
And then to in Welsh is
E.
Sorry, and then and in Welsh is which is to in
Spanish.
Spanish. Yeah.
And conjunctions, those connecting words, those are what trip you up in everything. But eventually, you just absorb it. A lot of it is just if you need a language you will pick up.
Yeah.
If I moved to Spain and refused to speak to British people, which I understand is useful advice in Spain, then eventually you just pick up Spanish because the alternative is you die. Whereas with Welsh,
I don't think they've executed anyone for that yet.
In Welsh, I think, again, because it's very bilingual, the temptation of most Welsh speakers when they meet a learner whose Welsh is a bit more limited is to switch to English to be polite, even though actually you're robbing that person of an opportunity to learn properly.
Sure.
But I think we are, it's an interesting... I feel like it is an underdog culture in a lot of ways, in that we have this idea that, you don't want to put anyone out, you don't want to inconvenience anyone. And that's the thing you get with translation, which is like, we think, it's good that translation exists for the benefit of Welsh speakers. But no, because Welsh speakers understand every language. They understand Welsh and English in a meeting like that. The translation service is for non-Welsh speakers. Yeah. So they can be included in a meeting they otherwise wouldn't understand.
Has there been any time you've been translating in court where somebody's full of shit?
Oh, yeah. Well, so this is a tricky thing, right? And there is debate in translation about what's correct to do. But if someone is speaking and they're mumbling, or they're talking too quietly, or they're tripping over their words, should you imitate that way of speaking when you're translating? Because that's... Rather
than being confident and eloquent,
if like the joke I used to do about this on stage is... A lot of people talk in a fairly sort of boring, mundane way in court. The risk of you overacting, if someone's going, okay, where were you at the time of the incident? And the person says, I was at home by myself, and like that's okay, right? Like the jury can draw their own conclusions. But if you're translating that as "Where were you at the time of the incident?" because you've watched too many crime dramas and you think that's how a proper lawyer speaks. I was at home by myself. It's just too much. It's so you there is a and I have occasionally heard translators. Actually, here's a good example, right? Because we are all translators in a way, right? Every single person who's ever told a story has translated an event because they've experienced something and they've taken that experience and they have paraphrased it in their own words. So when your mother tells you a story about, someone who cut her up on the road earlier that day, there's an active translation happening.
I call it adaptation because the film background.
So here's an interesting side note there. Welsh, in English we say you translate a novel.
Yeah.
In Welsh we say you addasu, so adapt.
Oh, that makes sense.
So if you take an English novel and make it Welsh, that's not translation because you cannot truly translate a piece of art.
Wow.
So it's an adaptation. I say that because I have adapted three English language children's novels into Welsh. And I'd like to say that I adapted rather than translated because as a comedian, I want to distance myself from David Walliams.
Were they David Walliams books?
They were not.
That would be great if they were, though. He changed it from like Gangster Granny to what? Like, what is Gangster Granny in Welsh?
Just Granny. They're all gangsters.
They're all OGs in Wales.
OG, it stands for Old Granny. So like you know when someone tells you a story about someone who was like mean to them at work and they go, oh yeah, this guy comes over to me and he goes, oh, where's the report? And I go, actually, I sent you the report on Monday. And they go, oh. That's how we tell stories, right? We make the villain of the story sound more unreasonable and and we make ourselves sound so calm and cool and collected. In reality, that interaction was actually like, have you sent the report yet? Yeah, I sent it Monday. Oh, there we are then. That's probably the truth, but that's not very exciting.
Yeah, sure.
So that's the risk with translation and storytelling is that you lean into your interpretation of what happened.
It's interesting because like online, especially online discourse and stuff. Every time I've shared any sort of Twitter thread or story of something that's happened in my real life, like via commuting, you always get people on the internet like this didn't happen, or like just kind of like I'm like, what? Sometimes I'll have exaggerated, which I'll give people that to be like, yes, I've taken poetic license of my life, and try to make it more interesting or whatever. But sometimes I'll describe like the most mundane event that could happen, and you get people online being like, didn't happen, didn't happen of the year award. What are you talking about? I'm describing like a pretty minor, interaction and stuff on a train.
My fourth solo show, I had this thing I would do where about 20 minutes into the show, I would sort of go, let's just pause there a second. And it's because later on I wanted to rely on the knowing that the audience knows the difference between watching something passively and watching it critically.
Sure.
So I sort of explained to them, basically give them a very quick lesson in like literary analysis, which is when you watch a film and instead of just like, switching off your brain, that you sort of ask questions about it. It doesn't mean you're negative, but you just go, why has the director chosen that shot over that shot? Or why is the script presenting this person sympathetically or otherwise? And so in stand-up, I was like, it's a very simple thing. Do you know the most common question people think to themselves while they watch stand-up? It's not, is it funny? You know if it's funny because you're laughing. It's, is it true? So the game I would play is I would go, I've been speaking to you for 20 minutes. Do you think I've lied to you? And I'd get people, and it was roughly 50-50, hands going up. And I'd go, well, I'm glad that some people think I've been honest. I have lied to you. There have been a number of lies because that is how stand-up works.
Yeah, otherwise it would be either miserable or boring.
Yeah,
those are the two things.
So the question is, people who thought I was lying, tell me what you think I was lying about. And then you realise they are often so wrong.
Yeah.
Sometimes they're right. It varies so much. So I had a joke in that show about... and this is true. I got a job. This is good for side gig. I got a job for about 2 months working part-time in an escape room in Swansea. This was... it was January. We know gigs are hard in January. And so the line I had about it was I wanted to do it because I always thought I'd be good, in a proper job with tills and mopping. And someone was like, I think you lied about mopping. And I was like, I did. You're right. Like I hadn't even thought of it. It was just, just a turn of phrase. But yeah, you're right. It was carpeted. Of course I didn't do any mopping. But then there were other people who were like, I don't think you're Welsh.
What?
They just think it's a conceit. I don't think you're actually bisexual. Like, why would I? It's. And I think
I always find it fascinating when people think like you've made certain stuff up. It's like how Do you know how much stuff I've got in my life I could mine
Yeah.
before I'd get to sexuality?
Yeah.
That's not even the thing that sells, I mean, I've got a mandro I haven't even mentioned. You know what I mean? I got so much stuff in there. Pens and, batteries and, Allen keys, whatever.
I've been doing this 15 years now. I haven't even got into my opinion of airline food.
Do you know what? Hot take. It's okay.
It's fine, isn't it? Yeah. I think it's improved a lot since the 80s when people moaned about it in every stand-up set.
Fair.
So I think there is that thing of you exaggerate a story, and that's what because what I would have loved to do in that show is spend more time in the educational bit, but that's not what people are paid for. But I would love to do that as a lecture, to be like, I'm going to do 20 minutes of stand-up and then we're just going to spend the rest of the time analysing it.
Yeah.
Okay, you've spotted things I lied about it. The next question is, why do you think I lied about that? I lied about mopping because that's a funnier word than hoovering. That's the truth. That's the only reason.
Depends the context, I reckon.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah, that's it. A Henry Mop is nothing. So yeah, finding those.
Henry Mop is actually a character in a James Patterson book.
I'll have your badge, Mop. So yeah, so like when I started doing comedy, I found that the skill from translation helped loads, because translation is all about manipulating a sentence to try and create an equivalent effect to the original sentence's effect, and that's really hard because words in one language carry different meanings to another. The word committed, the English, when politicians say, I am committed to fixing the economy. Well, in Welsh, we have two different words for committed. We have ymroddedig and ymrwymedig. Ymroddedig means I'm committed because I choose to be committed. I choose to commit myself.
How do you say that?
Ymroddedig.
Ymroddedig.
Yeah.
Ymroddedig.
And then
so I could say, for instance, that I was ymroddedig because I'd gone outside smeared in my own shit.
Yeah. I don't understand that.
I was committed to a mental institute.
So the other word is ymrwymedig.
Okay.
Which is a similar word, but it means committed, but not because you chose to be. You're committed because you have to be.
Oh, wow, okay.
So
that would make sense if I was smeared in my own shit.
So if someone says, "Hey, we want to book you for a gig next Wednesday," and you go, "Sorry, I'm already committed because I've promised to do this other gig." You're committed in the sense that I have agreed to do this other thing, so I cannot. So when you're a politician, you can say committed. No one knows if you're committed because you choose to be or because your role requires it. But when you translate them, you get to choose.
Wow.
It's up to you. It's the translators. So it is a creative job.
Who have you done that with?
Yeah. Let's just say they're not in power anymore. So it is funny that it is a creative job, but it's tricky because if you only speak one language, you don't realize just how different two languages can be. I have friends who assume that every word in English, there'll be an exact equivalent in Welsh with exactly the same nuance and subtext. And of course, it doesn't work like that.
Yeah.
And that in both directions, and actually usually it's the other way around because there are so many words. English has the biggest vocabulary of any language on the planet, but
which is ironic, speaking to most English people, because they do not use that many words.
No. But that's another thing I learned. If you learn the 100 most common words in any language, that is 90% of what you need.
Yeah, I heard it was 200 words to be conversational language.
There we go. Yeah. So
or half of that if you want to read a James Patterson book. I don't know why we're shitting on James Patterson so much.
It's about time. He had it coming.
He's very wealthy. He's doing fine. I don't think he's going to give a shit about a small podcast recorded in Wales.
Although we are obviously burning our opportunity to become his next co-writers. If you want to write a thriller about a Welsh comedian who has to rescue his own daughter, neither of us have daughters, but either way, I mean, you get to choose whether you want that
poetic license.
Yeah.
Bella could count.
Bella could count. Yeah,
somebody kidnapped Bella.
You have a particular set of skills. And you're gonna give yourself a few days off the walkies first,
Yeah.
and then you're gonna get right on saving them.
Have you ever had any pets?
Yeah, like cats growing up.
Okay.
But I was allergic.
You were allergic to them. Oh no! Did your parents know that before they got the cats?
I think they really wanted to get me out of the house.
Yeah. When did they buy it? I was 21 years of age.
So I think it's an allergy that's got worse with time. So I was kind of desensitized to the cats we had, and then as I've got older and older. So cats is what I would have. They're my fave.
Pre-record, you mentioned you have asthma.
Yes.
Which you said is an allergy.
Yeah.
So did you have to use an inhaler because of the cats?
No, I had to use the inhaler because my dad kept chickens, and I would clear out those sheds, and the ammonia in the feces of chickens has an effect on the lungs.
Permanent one.
Yeah.
So now you have asthma because of those chickens.
Well, so it's hard to tell, right? I might have just had it anyway. It might have been exacerbated by that. But that is my belief. Self-diagnosed.
Your origin story.
Yeah.
I get it. Self-diagnosed.
I did a BuzzFeed quiz, and I tested high for your dad making you do manual labor with the animals. As he used to show chickens. That's
Show chickens.
Yeah, it was like he
show them what. Look at this, pal.
So he would breed the best. Try and breed very good chickens to then show them off at a big show and win prizes. So he had a corkboard full of rosettes.
Chicken rosettes. That's quite cute. Speaking of, my dog just licked the microphone, by the way. I should mention. Steph said he hated that. The first time I ever went to the Edinburgh Fringe Festival, we were doing a show in, what the heck was the name of it? We were doing a show in Three Sisters, which was, pay what you want, bucket split kind of show at the end. We were doing a compilation show. We were on at 10:30. Which meant that there had been about 8 shows before ours all through the day. And there was a shared microphone. And I don't know what happened between night 1 and night 2, but we walked in and the show before us were like, guys, look, just to give you a heads up, the microphone stinks.
Oh, no.
And we're like, what do you mean? Like, and how bad could it be? Like, I'm not going to sniff the microphone. And then you pick it up, you're like,
oh.
And it smelled, and we were convinced there was an actor who was kind of more of a physical comic, not a straightforward stand-up. He was from another country. I'm not going to mention which country because I don't know. I didn't see his show. I just know that there was an actor who was not from the UK. Or Spain, for that matter. I was the only one in the building, I think. And we were convinced that part of his act involved him putting the microphone up his ass because it smelled so bad. And it got to the point where I was like, right, guys. I was like, I have my own SM58. We're just going to use this. And then other people were coming up to us who were also doing shows. This is how we narrowed it down to which act it was. People coming saying like, hey, we've heard you've got your own mic. May we use your microphone? I was like, yeah, but make sure it doesn't, And then one day I rocked up and the show on before hours said, look, man, I don't know how it happened, but your mic now stinks as well. And I was like, no. So somehow it had gotten to, and that's how we narrowed that down to which act had done it. And it turned out somebody went to go watch his show and he didn't do anything remotely sticking the mic up his ass. He just had horrific halitosis.
Whoa.
Yeah. So what I did was I took the shield, the guard off the mic, bleached it, got a new pop stopper for the inside, which is the fabric on mine, and then I didn't let anyone else use my microphone. I was like, sorry guys, you're gonna have to deal with that stench yourselves.
The idea that by the end every individual show had its own microphone.
I think he worked for Shure, the microphone company. He was
that is genius.
Just selling SM58s out the back.
Poison the communal microphones of Edinburgh.
You started out in translating before you went into stand-up comedy. I didn't last very long in an office job. Like, how did you find that?
I was bad at it. Yeah, I was bad at it. Which it's very embarrassing to admit this. And partly, I think it was my first job. and I'd done it. I got it as a summer job as a teenager. So there were bad habits I hadn't got out of. I was very easily distracted, but also I was a very inconsistent worker. My results were always very good. I was consistently. They had this spreadsheet keeping track of everyone's word counts, and I would ask about my rankings, and I was always second. And so, okay, I can't beat Nia, fair enough, but I'm beating all you others.
All she was doing was just taking all the hyphens out. Just doubling up on everything.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a good idea, actually. If I just phrase things in the most long-winded way, really inflate my figures. But yeah, so on paper, you'd think, oh, you were a model worker. But no, because I was so inconsistent. And what I hadn't realized is, if you have a day where you're not feeling it and you just can't motivate yourself, that has such an effect on everyone else in the office. And I don't know, I had a lot of learning and growing up to do and learning how to be professional. But actually, I did the main thing I did was just become a freelancer where you can make your own hours. And now it's like, well, yeah, if you don't want to work today, you don't have to. But you don't make any money, and suddenly you're a lot more incentivized to learn discipline.
Also, with stand-up, it's like our job is the opposite sometimes of like trying to inflate your word count. You're trying to bring it down and be more concise.
Yeah.
So that's must have been a steep learning curve, was it?
I mean, I was very wordy at the start. You may well remember. Really, really long-winded stuff. Boiling it down was took years to learn. Even now, I found an old clip of myself from my first year as a full-time comic, and I look at it, and it's so wordy. I'm like, how are you making a living from this?
It was your first year, though. Everything changes so much. I remember one of my go-to jokes in my first 5-minute set that I was doing was about peanut allergies.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. It was what was the joke? It was the joke that I read on a packet of peanuts. This is the worst observational comedy ever, because it just came fully formed as a thing, and then I was just explaining what's the deal with peanut packets. It was I saw a packet of peanuts that says warning may contain nuts. Warning may contain nuts. And I was like, that for me, that was it. The joke came fully, and I was on stage I read a peanut packet. It said may contain nuts, and then I was getting angry at the peanut packet, shouting at it and stuff, acting it out all over the place. That probably was a good 3 minutes of my set when I started.
But the thing is, it's easy to make fun of that now because you just go, oh, what a basic observation. But actually, the key thing there is that it's a rant, right? And it's you allowing yourself to get annoyed on stage in a way people can enjoy. And I think that took me a while to realize, which is actually people want to see the emotion behind a thing. If you've got a strong opinion about a thing, people love that. And whereas I was being quite contained and quite measured and quite calm on stage, I think a lot of the comics I'd loved were sort of fairly cerebral people. But looking back, I'm like, even those people, Dave Gorman was one of my favorites. Actually, Dave Gorman is constantly outraged on stage and talking about stuff that annoys him. So I don't know where I got this idea that a proper comic is almost TED Talk-esque in this very calm way.
There's very few comics who can pull that off.
Yeah, I think that's true.
Played it straight, quite calm.
Being deadpan. A lot of new comics start out deadpan, and then they realize, actually, it's really hard to do this.
Yeah. Well, a lot of comics find out, you can write a perfect joke, it can still be sold better.
Yes.
You can still elevate it by performance skills and, doing things with your voice, not being too monotonous, so you can bring things out of it. And that's a performance skill thing that kind of comes out of it.
And I think especially in this era of online content, I think you have to tell people why should they come and watch live comedy when they could just watch a YouTube video at home.
Yeah.
And I think one of the bigger selling points is because you have no idea the joy of being in a room full of people reacting to just one person impotently moaning. It's genuinely
losing
incredible.
Their shit. Yeah.
just, why is it like that? Why have you made it like this? And everyone going, It's just a true human joy.
Yeah. Well, losing it with no with no consequence. Because, we've all seen people lose their temper in public. I mean, this is the worst.
Yeah.
I do not want to be on this train carriage anymore.
How many times do you have that when you're in an audience? I still get this sometimes, even now, where sometimes I see a comedian ranting about something on stage and I think, I didn't realize I was allowed to be annoyed by this. This gives me permission.
Sure.
Like, like someone's moaning about, when we've all got that one cousin who talks to you about cryptocurrency at Christmas. I go, that there is a joy in, of course, we are meant to sort of be polite and like not mention if someone's boring us. And then a comedian goes, no, I don't care.
Fuck them.
So I think it is this quite cathartic thing. And
what we're doing, you're doing a huge show in Cardiff very soon. The show that you took to Edinburgh Fringe Festival,
8th of February 2026,
which is a fantastic show and a great date that people should go along to Cardiff to see.
Yes.
This isn't the first time you've done a big show in Cardiff, is it?
No, it's not even the first time I've done this venue, but it's kind of the biggest in terms of, because this Edinburgh went very well and it was the biggest, it's the most expensive production I've ever done. So it's kind of, what I'm hoping is that I find an audience that didn't know I existed, who goes, who's this guy? So yeah, it's my third show at this venue. But it's kind of, if you've never seen me before, this is the perfect one to see. It's, I don't expect anyone to know who I am. Let's just get into it.
I love the space, but not just the room itself. The Millenium Centre is incredible. I think it is a great addition to Cardiff.
Yes.
I don't know if, because you grew up in Swansea.
Yeah.
Did you go to Cardiff much when you were a kid?
I barely remember. There would have been school trips. Techniquest, I loved Techniquest.
Oh, sure, yeah.
So that's my big, but I didn't think of Techniquest as like, let's go to Cardiff because we can then go to Techniquest. I didn't even think of Techniquest as a place I wanted to go to. If people don't know it, it's like an attraction, like a museum of science, I guess, like with interactive displays. But one of the things they have is a mirror maze. So you go in and it's a maze, but because it's all mirrors, it's hard to know where you're going and you bang into yourself and stuff. And I loved that place so much that, if my parents were like, "Whoa, what do you want to do today?" I'd be like, "I want to go to the mirror maze." So I don't think I realised it was in Cardiff. I thought Techniquest was its own destination.
Yeah. Metropolis, going to Techniquest. What I love about Techniquest is some stuff was so lo-fi. Like, I remember one display which was like a beach ball on like an air funnel. You would just blow the beach ball in the air, and like kids would be like, wow.
The beach ball is just floating there because of the stream
air.
of air that's keeping it up.
Yeah, it's not magic. Because the thing is, you pass your hand under it and the beach ball immediately drops. I found out fairly recently my second cousin was one of the engineers who worked on the pneumatic dragon.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, which was always a highlight that I wanted to see in Techniquest. Never worked whenever I was there. But my Techniquest story is when I was a kid, we were staying with my grandmother in Pontedawe, and my dad was like, right, taking you out for some culture. We're going to Cardiff. We're going to take you to Cardiff. We're going to Cardiff Museum. And we were like, all right, okay. So we bundled into the car during the summer holidays. And my dad drives. For starters, he drove in the complete wrong direction. We were going to like Astroganlice. And then my dad, it took a while because this is pre-smartphones and stuff. So he's like looking on an A to Z and he's kind of like, none of this looks right. So
wandering around Astroganlice Welfare Hall going, I thought there'd be more like dinosaur fossils and stuff.
No, there's fewer dinosaur fossils than in Astroganlice. And he goes, he spots, a few things, and he stops. He goes into a corner shop, asks somebody, comes out. Okay, we drive the opposite direction down the road, connect onto the motorway, get all the way to Cardiff, go to Cardiff Museum. Turns out Cardiff Museum's closed on a Monday. He'd been driving for like 2 hours to take us to the Cardiff Museum. He's like, you need some education, need some culture, need some stuff. It was closed. So were just walking around Cardiff, and he was just asking people what we should do. And somebody was like, Techniquest? And we ended up going to Techniquest. And which was open on a Monday, and became one of my favorite places to go as a kid as well. Yeah. I used to love there was a part of it where you shouted into a big dish, and like a big iron dish, and somebody over the other side of the building could hear into their dish, but nobody else could hear between. It was like somehow they'd managed to secret message people. It was like those vanishing DMs you get now.
Yeah, if you wanted to do a vanishing DM in the 90s, you had to go to Techniquest.
I think that's where Mark Zuckerberg got the idea.
So I think that for me, it's weird as a comic. So because I'm not a football fan, obviously, look at me. But you know, like I had friends who were football fans. My mother's a big football supporter. So growing up, you're sort of aware that there's a Swansea-Cardiff rivalry. But if you don't care about sports, it's totally irrelevant. So to me, Cardiff wasn't the enemy. It was actually this very like exotic place. Obviously, that's funny as an adult because it's like down the road. But as a kid, when your world is just really your house, your school, whatever, then you don't imagine. You know, I watched Welsh language children's television, all of which was filmed in Cardiff, which to me was like, whoa, the land where dreams are made of. You know, you'd you know, on your birthday every year, you would, you know, your parents would write into S4C to, you know, hoping that the children's TV presenter would read out your birthday. And when they did, you lost your mind.
Read out your birthday.
Yeah, there'd be a thing where, like, is that not a thing in English or Spanish? Where children's presenters would go, oh, you know, and John Owen from Stradgan Lice has just turned 5, and then you like sing happy birthday to the kids. Yeah, is that not a thing? That must be a thing. That must be a thing.
Not on any of the programs I watched.
So for hours, it was Slot Meithrin, which was like the nursery programming. Famously, the two presenters I remember mostly from that show was Daniel Glyn, stand-up comedian, who we know very well now, and Martin Geraint was the other one, still an entertainer to this day, but he wrote songs and had a keyboard and would sort of play them, and so he wrote his own version of Happy Birthday, presumably so they wouldn't have to pay royalties.
Well, but it turns out that like that song isn't that anyone can play. That
oh, that's
song.
a myth?
No, so it's not a myth. Somebody held the copyright on it. It's either lapsed or it's come out that they didn't write the melody. I think it's a family of sisters who had the kind of rights to the song. But that's
fascinating. But actually, it was a forgotten Mozart piece.
But there's so many like films and stuff where everyone comes out. You know, they got a birthday cake there and they're like, so it's your birthday.
What
Aren't you happy? It's your birthday. You know, and I'm like, what is this? What the hell is going on?
And the irony is, I now want to do the Slot Meithrin Welsh language one, except Martin Geraint probably holds the copyright. That is copyright.
I can't remember which comic it is who had a joke about, they said that if you're ever worried about like recording a sex tape and it getting leaked or whatever, just make sure the Beatles are playing in the background.
Oh, that's brilliant.
Because they will quickly get that taken down.
The other way round, if you are an OnlyFans model and you want to get your sexual content out there, do it in Welsh, because when there is new Welsh language porn, everyone knows about it. It's people, have you seen this? Yeah. And everyone goes, no, I haven't seen that, and I shan't be looking it up immediately when I get home either.
But don't sing Happy Birthday on it. The Welsh version from Slut Meithrin.
It's an amazing thing where, like, because we are a small culture, we make relatively little. But I do think we punch above our weight. You know, like we make amazing stuff. And, you know, we have some of the best actors in the world in this country, in my opinion. But obviously...
Port Talbot is not... Everyone says it's a steelworks. It's actually an actor factory.
It's
churned out more Oscar winners, I think, than any other town in the world, other than Hollywood. Obviously.
It's funny, isn't it? And so... And I think partly it's just we value performing, and we value rugby. And so those are the two things we can do. And what it means is when there's a drama on TV and you watch an episode and it's not that good, you watch it all anyway. And then you don't admit that it's bad because you don't want... You don't want the whiff of failure. You know, it's important. If anyone asks me about what's because people sometimes go, I watched something on S4C with subtitles, it was bad, and I have to go, that's because you didn't understand it. You don't understand the cultural context of it. That is actually brilliant. If you grew up with this language, you would understand that is one of the great... And then you watch it and you go, you know what? Super Ted's not that great. How dare you? You come for our bear. So, but then what will happen is you meet up with your Welsh language friends later in a pub, and they'll go, between you and me, I don't think this new one's very good, this new drama. Have you seen it? Yeah. I wouldn't say it to anyone else, but actually I don't think it's that. It's like a clandestine thing. But literally everyone thinks it's bad, and they're all saying to each other, I think this one's quite bad, actually. But also, you're only 1 degree of separation from everyone in Wales. So you're also like, I don't want to slag this off in case I'm talking to the cousin of the lead actor. Right?
You're like, I've heard this not very good. I'm the creator of the show. Have you heard that that Disney have bought Super Ted?
Have they? Wow.
And he's going to get folded into the new Avengers movie. Can you imagine?
Oh, the thing is, I would kind of love that, except that I'm envisioning a kind of ironic, like Rocket Raccoon kind of deal, where it's like really funny that it's a bear. I want them to play that completely straight.
Yeah, well, I think they've got the rights to Super Ted, but is it Spotty, his friend?
Yeah.
He's still owned by Sony. And as long as Sony continue to put out Spotty movies, then he's not going to make it into the
Even
Marvel
though they're all bad and no one
extended
watches
universe.
them. Do you know who the voice of the English language Spotty man was?
No.
It was John Pertwee, who was also the third Doctor
Yeah.
Who, which because I watched it in Welsh, I never knew. But
Who was the voice in Welsh?
I think Geraint Jarman was the voice of the bear in Welsh.
Did he? Was he the dub of Doctor Who? As the Doctor.
I know this data. The only Welsh language Doctor Who stories, to my knowledge, I think there's 3. One is a short story I wrote for a spin-off collection, for the Iris Wildtime spin-off collection. But the main 2 are Matt Smith era Doctor Who. You know those choose your own adventure novels. If you want to go left, turn to page 72. Those. It was 2 of those. So they were like, oh well, let's try. I don't know how the decision came that that's what we should. Maybe that's what Welsh language audiences want, is choose your own adventure Doctor Who.
First time I got one of those choose your adventure books, it starts off first page, is page 1, and then it spins off to any other page, right? The opening question was, if you want to, at any point in time, lose your virginity, stop reading or turn to page 47.
Do you know what this is? I strongly think.
Ooh, Doctor Who.
So I've started in Edinburgh. Me and my friends Jake Baker and Caris Bradley started a show called Comedians Play Video Games.
Yeah.
And if there is one thing I have learned from that experience, it's our idea of nerds being these introverted, virgin figures trapped in their bedrooms, unable to get dates, is not true. Because what they do is they just go to nerdy events and then all sleep with each other.
That's not strictly accurate, Steph. They don't all sleep with each other. Just because you found extrovert ones and nerds and stuff who have these stories and have done these things, have you ever, been in a convention for something that you're not into?
Ooh, yes, I have. I went to a Comic Con.
Right.
You
like comics?
Well, not so. I like comics, but I don't. I think if you go to Comic Con going, "Ooh, I'm really into the new Jonathan Hickman X-Men." Oh, good luck. That is not the sort of experience.
No.
it is.
Well, also these days, Comic Cons is not even about comics. It's about mainly it's spun off into fantasy and sci-fi in any medium. It's very little of it is about comics.
I was there covering a thing for S4C, presenting an item for a bigger show, and I enjoy, it was interesting to go to, but just realizing there are some people whose nerdy, because I like nerdy stuff. I like Doctor Who. I like sci-fi and comics and what have you. But the people for whom their interest manifests as a desire to just buy loads of merch and queue up for hours to get an autograph from someone who played a stormtrooper, which is obviously fun, easy to make fun of, but I love that there are people that passionate, but I also kind of think you're being fleeced. I don't think this organization values you as a passionate follower of this stuff, or they wouldn't charge you 70 quid for an autograph from someone who was in Torchwood. I love Torchwood. I don't think you should get. I don't think it should cost you 70 quid for someone's name on a piece of paper.
Yeah, I get it. But that doesn't explain your idea that these people are all sleeping with one another.
I don't know. I think
unless there's money involved, and that's how they get the 70 quid.
Look, I'm just saying there is this reputation that geeks have for sort of being malnourished, not good-looking
touching
people.
each other's Torchwood.
But the thing is, they're all into cosplay now, so they're all like super hot.
They're not all into. That's the thing.
Every single one of them.
That's very different. Like I don't see, like that's more that for me. Like that's closer to kind of like the fashion industry, or it's more of an artistic endeavor, I think, than sort of fandom in terms of being nerdy. But I don't know.
Because you draw, right? You're an artist.
I used to illustrate a lot,
Because that to me feels like. Because I know you were a big comics guy as a kid as well. Like, do you feel like reading comics made you go, oh, like I want to engage with this in a different way? Like I want to draw Batman or whatever.
I think with a lot of art, I engage with it in that I value being creative more than I do consuming.
That makes sense.
Creative content. Or for me, I find it like when I watch or read or listen or anything. I find it gives me ideas, and I want to be doing that thing.
I'm reading a murder mystery novel at the minute. Very, very good book. It's Kosuke Kindaichi book, who's like a big Japanese crime figure. And I was having a blast until about...
What's a Japanese crime?
It means
murder by origami.
It just means it happens in a temple. But while you're about, I don't know, 40% of the way through the novel, I suddenly had an idea. So I've always wanted to write a murder mystery. That's on my list of things I'd love to achieve. And I had an idea, and now I will not solve this crime now because every clue that comes up keeps making me think, oh, that's a good type of clue. I wonder if I could use something similar in my idea.
What is in the book that you're reading?
Yeah.
Oh man.
Like to engage, to truly lose myself in this mystery.
Yeah.
I've just got my own ideas like drowning it out.
I was reading a book recently where I'm not going to describe the exact scene, but I was reading it, and it was, for me, it wasn't a horror book, but it read like the setup to a perfect horror moment. And I was really disappointed reading when nothing horrific happened. And I was like, but that would be such a great thing. But it wasn't a horror novel, so we wouldn't have that supernatural element to it or whatever. But I was like, it felt like it was going to go that direction. But I was like, I wonder if, nobody'd notice if I just took that premise and turned it into the thing that I imagined was going to happen.
Yeah, and actually, loads of films have very similar premises to each other anyway, but it's what you do with that, and it's how you... So
it's been a dream of yours to write a murder mystery novel. Have you considered committing murder?
Yes,
because it's a way.
It's a good way of getting into the head of the But actually, I don't see the guy that often anymore, so I can. I've calmed down.
Have you ever thought about what the best way to get away with a murder is?
Yeah, I think it's hard not, because if you want to write crime, you end up.
You have to think
of
ways around it, and then how would that person get caught or whatever. I asked that question to a friend of mine. His very relative is high up in the police force, as a detective, and I was like, oh, that's fascinating. And he told me that he'd asked him at one point, like, oh, what if have you thought about how you get away with a murder? Because this guy investigates murders. And he's like, I'll tell you how every single person that has ever been caught, has been caught. It's by involving somebody else. He said, if you truly want to get away with a crime, don't involve anyone else.
Yeah. Just do it on your own time. Freelance it.
Freelance it. Keep it to yourself. Everyone, it's either through involving somebody in the crime itself, or giving it away by bragging in some way, or giving it away.
Don't show off.
Don't
do an Edinburgh show about it.
Depends what venue, man.
Okay. Three Sisters, Smelly Mike.
That's why the mics stank.
Well, if I can't write an Edinburgh show about it, I'm not going to commit a murder.
That's
the only reason I do anything.
They were like, this mic stinks. He's the guy. 15 Edinburghs later, we got the son of a bitch.
I think there is I heard on a podcast that apparently they used to solve far more murders than they do now. And I think part of the issue is that most murder...
There's too many podcasters getting in the way. Every crime scene is like, Jesus Christ, somebody with a boom mic.
There's this like comedian from the Canadian open mic scene who's like, well, actually, I'm quite into murder mystery, so I'll just. It's
Why did they used to solve more?
So I think part of it is just the way incentives work in the police, where it used to be that it was like logically rewarded if you solved a lot of murders, whereas now, because most murder isn't a body and a candlestick, but in a locked room no one could have entered. Most murder is two people started fighting in a bar and one of them accidentally killed the other. So most murders could be solved quite easily, but it just, there is so much work for the police to do, and that isn't where the deployment, like, something like that.
So somebody who's in the police force told me at one point as well that shows like CSI and all of these crime podcasts have actually trained so many people to get away with murder.
Yeah.
Even like stuff like petty theft, like criminals never used to even when fingerprinting had been like for 100 years, Scotland Yard had been doing it, still people wouldn't wear gloves. And then it became like DNA evidence stuff. So people are so good at getting away with that stuff now.
That's funny. Well, I don't watch those shows, so I would have gone gloveless to commit a murder. so this is good. I'll write this down.
Oh, that's just the tip of the iceberg, mate. Gloves. You need to put little plastic bags over your shoes as well, because you pick up fibers from it. We'll discuss this.
I feel like you're gonna like roll out a corkboard and string with like the perfect murder plan.
I've got my idea for a perfect murder. It's not the perfect murder. It's the perfect way to get away with a murder.
Okay.
But I'm saving it for. I'm going to write it into a screenplay. I think it would make it
that's a good idea.
Which would give me the perfect alibi.
Yeah. He wouldn't have done a book describing exactly how he would have committed the actual murder he did. No one would do that, except O.J. Simpson. Is that actionable? I feel like this broadcast can't.
Mate, not at this point. No, he's dead anyway.
Is he? Yeah. Oh, you can't libel the dead, I've heard.
Is that true?
I think that's true.
Oh. Okay. No, I think there was a really good theory I read years ago that it was actually OJ's son who'd committed the murder, and OJ helped him cover it up, and in doing so, incriminated himself way worse, which is why everyone thinks it's him. But I can't remember the full details of the article, so I maybe have just libeled his son.
So this is a problem that I'm not I love stuff like this, and I will learn anecdotes like this and then repeat them to people. But I've remembered them slightly wrong, and I haven't fact-checked them.
So PJ and Duncan murdered their wife and then drove down the... Anton Deck did that?
Do you know...
Took OJ for PJ.
You know that thing that happens sometimes where you're in a pub and you mention... I don't know, you might mention sort of... Oh, you know who was a great actor? Alan Rickman. It's so sad he's dead. And there's someone there who just didn't know.
Yeah.
And like... But also the opposite can happen where you think someone's died and actually you're wrong.
Like who you thought was dead?
Who did I think was dead recently? The thing is, now my brain... I'm sure there was a pop star. I'd confused maybe Mariah Carey, because I'd confused her with Whitney Houston, even though those are very different artists.
Yeah. Well, look, man, I'm really looking forward to seeing the show in Cardiff. And then maybe going to Technoquest the next day.
Yes! It's genuinely around the corner.
Yeah, it's down the street.
Amazing.
Thanks, mate. Anything else you want to plug?
Follow me on social media, I suppose. Join my mailing list, which is linked to from steffanalun.com.
Great.
Everyone knows how to spell that. Very easy name to spell.
We'll put it on the screen. Thanks, mate. Great chat.
Nice to see you. Thanks for having me.
That was Steffan Alun. Make sure you check him out on social media. Book tickets to his show February the 8th in Cardiff, Wales Millenium Centre in the Cabaret Space. It's a fantastic venue and it's an excellent show, guaranteed. Next episode, I'm not sure who I'm talking to. I'm going to have to talk to my producer Jose and find out. Otherwise, have an excellent week. Catch you then.